Well, good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Society of River Falls. I'm Ann Leek. I'm presiding today. It was Maureen's turn. She had to be out of town this weekend, but I'm happy to take her place today because we're going to learn about how to be curious and what curiosity can do for us. So, that's right. I'm in charge here. Even though we have two very able technicians up in our booth, and a trainee, and the apprentice and the master, Lily and Jonathan. I should be in charge. Nope. I'm not. There we go. So we're just going to start with a chalice lighting. Can our master chalice lighter come and light the chalice, Callan? Excellent job. He's got this so down now. And can we read these words together? May we be reminded here of our highest aspirations and inspired to bring our gifts of love and service to the altar of humanity. May we know once again that we are not isolated beings, but connected in mystery and miracle to the universe, to this community, and to each other. Thank you. Is it? Thank you. One small detail that I missed that training session, I think. Okay, we'll try again. All right, we'll go right into taking a few minutes to greet one another. And we're focusing on the value of equity today, one of the 7 values of UUA. We declare that every person is inherently worthy and has the right to flourish with dignity, love, and compassion. We covenant to use our time, wisdom, attention, and money to build and sustain fully accessible and inclusive communities. So, please stand and greet your neighbors. Very nice.
I was
Callan did. I guess you weren't listening, huh? Okay. Thank you. What a warm and wonderful buzz it is as we greet each other. There will be time after the service to chat in the kitchen or here or out in the garden. But let's move on to joys and concerns. We always take a few minutes to share our thoughts, our concerns, our happiness with each other. If you have something you would like to share, come up, take a stone, drop it in the water. I'll start because I'm here. Joy? Donna and my immediate family are here this weekend, so there are 10 of us all together, our daughters, our sons-in-law, our grandkids, and Don's sister. So it's a little crazy, but it's pretty wonderful because we don't have that happen very often. So anybody else want to come forward?
All right. Well, a joy is I've had a massive house full of family here. Not all of them.
You can beat me in numbers, I'm sure.
But they didn't all come, but they all just pulled out the driveway as I was coming here. So that's the joy. And then the concern is, as most of you know, I'm from a very large family. Well, my one niece lives in the northwest corner of South Dakota, almost to North Dakota. She's big-time rodeo person, travels all over Canada, all over the United States doing barrel racing. If you've watched any of that, you've seen her. But anyway, she was away at the South Dakota State High School rodeo. She has 5 children. The oldest one's just heading to college, down to little ones, and they got a call that their house burned down while they were gone. So they're dealing with that. My sister's in transit to get out there, and so just, yeah. Just nobody got hurt. Nobody got hurt, and that's the good thing. But a hot mess, yeah.
In Prescott, school's starting in 16 days. But there's an event called Return to Learn where you go to school 1 week earlier and it's optional. So I'm going to school in 9 days and I'm excited.
Anybody else? I'll do a concern here. Ukraine. Can we find the way out of this mess? I don't know. And a large stone for all the joys and concerns unexpressed today. Okay. So we'll move right on to our speaker today, Jenelle Ludwig-Krause, going to talk to us about curiosity. I've known Jenelle for 5 years, since Juliet had the brilliant idea of hiring her to be the executive director of GROW, Grassroots Organizing of Western Wisconsin. So I've worked with Jenelle a lot over those years. And GROW has grown bountifully, thanks to Juliet, thanks to Jenelle, lots of other people as well, but I'm very happy to have her here. And sitting next to her is her father, Reverend Jay Ludwig, who spoke to us last fall, if you remember, on a wonderful service about end of life. Jenelle, I think you can introduce yourself more if you want to. Yes, but the podium is yours.
Thank you. I'm going to move this over. I'm being an organizer today. No PowerPoint. I just did this, and we'll make sure it doesn't burn down with that thing.
This is on? Oh yeah, great. Awesome. I'm going to stand down here with you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really glad to be with all of you today. And I'm going to take you on a little journey and said that we've known each other for 5 years. And it is about 5 years ago that I started organizing with GROW. And so I'm going to tell you about that journey today. From me being a part-time, short-term organizer to becoming the executive director of an organization that has interacted with thousands of people and built a lot of local power that we're now ready to start wielding at the state and federal level. And I'm going to tell you some things that maybe you've heard through Anne or Juliet or read about in the paper, but I'm also going to tell you a little bit about what this journey has meant for me personally, and some of the things that I've had to overcome to be on this journey. And sometimes when you hear people talking about GROW or grassroots organizing, you maybe hear about our opposition and how they're organized, or you might hear about strategies and tactics that we use in organizing. I'm not going to talk about that today. I might allude to it a little bit, but I'm not really going to focus on that. I really want us to take a moment on this Sunday morning at UU Society that has, we've already had some inspirational things happening this morning. I want to take a moment to reflect on like what it takes internally inside of us to create, to build power and create the opportunity to have change in our world. And let's see. Oh, and we'll close out with just an invitation for you to reflect a little bit on what's happening for you and what maybe there's a risk you want to take, or maybe there's something holding you back. So we'll have a little bit of time for reflection too. So in 2019, some of you may know, especially those of you who were at Paula Lugar's memorial service last weekend, know that 7 people sat around kitchen table at Juliet's house in 2019, and because they had seen that some things were not going well in our community. A lot of main streets are being hollowed out, farmers are going out of business. Over 1/3 of people that live in our community struggle to make ends meet. And they thought, we know that there are some tools we can use to change things. We can build power and start to create structural change that we need. And the idea was to be an all-volunteer organization. They launched a campaign to elect Jill Karofsky to the Wisconsin Supreme Court, which they won. And she's now making decisions aligned with our values at the Wisconsin Supreme Court. But in early 2020, there was an opportunity to organize a little bit of money. And so they got a grant, which allowed what was Pierce County Grassroots Organizing at the time to hire a part-time, 8-month long organizer leading up to the November 2020 election. And this was at a point in my life where I was really curious and wondering what should be next for me. I had had a career in the organic and natural food industry, and in 2017, while I was traveling a lot and working really long hours, something really terrible happened in my family. My brother Michael, who had struggled with depression off and on ever since he was a teenager, died by suicide. And it's the most challenging thing that has happened to me in my life. It plunged me into really, really deep grief. And I experienced pain during that time, unlike any other pain that I'd experienced before in my life. And as I was emerging from that, one thing became very clear to me, and that was that I wanted to show up differently in the world. I wanted to show up, I was very curious about what I could change in my life. I was alive, I love life. I saw pain in new ways, I experienced pain in new ways, and I knew other people were also experiencing pain. And I was curious, what can I do to help alleviate some of this pain? Some things we can't control, but some things are structural things that have been put in place that cause more pain. And I was curious, what could I do? And I didn't think it was organizing. I thought it was working in human rights, maybe an international human rights organization. But I was in transition, exploring what was new, and I got an opportunity to apply for this job. And I thought, well, I'll do this for 8 months, and then I'll go back to figuring out what I want to do with the rest of my life. Aha! So I started working with GROW, and we had a campaign to get out the vote for the 2020 election, 12 teams, people, dozens and dozens of leaders talking to the people they know about the importance of that election. Anne was one of the first people that talked to me about fair maps, the fact that we had districts in Wisconsin that were so gerrymandered, they were so rigged, that when people voted, the will of the people wasn't represented in Madison. That was a big problem. And so we launched a campaign around fair maps. We wanted to get fair maps, and dozens of people took on robust roles, Anne being one of them, Dawn being another, took on robust roles to get fair maps in Wisconsin. And so we've got these campaigns, we're organizing a little bit more money, and we're 18 months in, and Juliet and I had a conversation, well, now what? What do we do? Do I continue working part-time as an organizer, still having clients from the food industry to help me pay my bills? Or do I take a big risk and dive in fully? We'd seen that hundreds of people in our community were thirsty for an opportunity to build power and create change around the things that were important to them. And I started reflecting on this, and things came up for me. One thing that came up is I'm not smart enough for this. During my childhood, my brother Michael, who's no longer with us, was very, very, very smart. I was 1 year behind him in school, and teachers would gush about him, even though he would do so amazingly well on everything that teachers just loved teaching him, and it was amazing. And then I would come along, and teachers would be like, wow, this is not Michael. And I think I'm pretty averagely smart, but there's a lie that I told myself, and that people kind of were telling me during that time, was that I was not smart enough. And as I step back and reflect on that, am I smart enough to do this? Am I not? There was another voice that came up in my mind, which is, why are you taking all this time to think? Your value is what you produce. You should be doing things, doing things, doing things. Produce, produce, produce. And that was also in part an outcome of my childhood. It's also the world we live in. Our value is what we produce. And I had to take those voices and put them in the back seat. I don't want you to drive the decisions that I want to make. I want to put you in the back seat so I can courageously make decisions that are aligned with my values and what I want to do in the world. And so I took a risk to dive fully in and be curious about what I can build with others when I put these lies that pop up for me in the back seat and move forward with courage. And building this new organization that was coming to be allowed us to launch a bunch of new campaigns led by volunteer leaders, some of them in here in this room today. We launched People Protecting Pierce, a campaign to protect our water, our air, farmers from the excesses of agribusiness and huge farms consolidating in our community. We launched a campaign around housing justice to protect renters from rising costs and unsafe conditions. We launched a campaign called All in Favor to help elect people to local office that align with us on values so that we can get things done for the people that we care about and our families. And we worked on 2 Supreme Court elections. And all of these efforts involve us taking risks. Some of you, I remember you were here. In 2022, we had a training right here in this room about deep canvassing. Deep canvassing is a tool that we use in organizing to engage with new people and have conversations with people we have never met before to see if they are aligned and want to work with us. And so in the morning, we had a training. It involves, I think you were here too, Allison, now that I think of it. Yeah. It involves being authentic, telling stories, connecting with people on a human level. It involves not judging, just letting people say what they want to say and being curious about what they have to say. And in the afternoon, we went out and started knocking doors. And so I'm in River Falls over by CVTC, knocking doors, and it's going well, and I get to the next house, and there's a gargantuan US flag and American flags everywhere, in the garden, everywhere. Little ones, small ones, everywhere. And I thought to myself, okay, the plan's to knock every door, but I'm looking for people that are going to align with me on my values and courageously maybe step into the public arena and take a risk and organize around something that we care about together. And I thought, am I going to find that person in this house? I don't know. Maybe I skip this house to be a little bit more efficient and find people that will align with me. But I was like, no, this is not what we said we were going to do. We're going to knock every door. And I knocked that door. And when I got to the question of if you had a magic wand, what would you change in the world today? This gentleman said, I would abolish armed services. I would abolish the military. And this took me by surprise. It is not what I was expecting. And we had a beautiful conversation around how we align and how the armed services, even though he served in the armed services, it was really harmful to him. And it's hard for him to make sense of the world now. And I would have never had that conversation with that gentleman had it not been for me saying, no, the most important thing right now is not efficiency and me finding as many people as possible, as quickly as possible. The most important thing for me right now is to be curious about what is possible, what new things I can make possible by being curious. So in 2024, there was a big test that many of you on the outside of Grow maybe didn't hear about. We went into 2024 with only enough money in the bank to cover 3 payrolls. That's 6 weeks. And I'm the executive director, and I can't sleep very well at night because I am thinking, we have this money here, this money going out here, this money, are we going to be, I think we're okay, and I would just keep on running this scenario through my mind over and over. And these voices that I try to keep in the back seat were right there with me. I'm not smart enough, maybe I'm not good enough to produce what this organization needs. And I had to once again say, no. Go back to the back seat. I need some time to think and reflect and be curious about what could be possible. And we restructured some things in Grow. We shared a lot of responsibilities. It wasn't only me raising money anymore. It was dozens of people taking on the responsibility of figuring out how to keep our organization funded in a sustainable way. And by the end of 2024, thanks to many people taking responsibility, we had raised $1.4 million, which was not only enough to keep our payroll going in 2024, but also help us in 2025 when there's no big election and we knew it was going to be really challenging to raise money. So it's making our organization more sustainable. And all these people that have put their lives in the back seat and courageously stepped up to take responsibility, we've started to have quite a few victories in our 5 years of working together. These are thousands of people, over 60 grassroots leaders taking on robust responsibility. We helped elect 2 Wisconsin Supreme Court justices that are helping make really great decisions for us in Wisconsin right now. We helped get fair maps in Wisconsin, and there's more to do, and you can talk to Ann about that. We're not done, but we're in a much better place than we were. We've passed an operations ordinance in the town of Macon to protect farmers and people from the harms of mega dairies and factory farms. We've passed, and we've set up, and we're set up to win 6 more operations ordinances by the end of the year. We passed a zoning amendment in Dunn County to allow the construction of more small homes, setting us up to win some really robust renters protections by the end of the year this year. And we've helped elect 11 people to local nonpartisan offices that are making decisions in these offices to move our community forward. And now we're at a point where on September 27th at Grow Fest, we're going to bring all these campaigns together and start to imagine this local power that we've built. How do we want to start wielding it at the state level? What are the things that we want to win next? And how are we going to create a pathway over the next 18 months to win robust change at the state level? So it's been a great journey. But even as I say all of this to you, I've had knowledge like in my gut. I don't know if this ever happens to you. This probably happens to you, Bob, because you told me you think about your guardian angels. I knew that there was more risk that I needed to take. In the recent history, our country has been sliding towards authoritarianism. The organizing that we were doing 1 year ago is really important so that regular people can have an experience of the government working for them, so that we can have agency and we can win things that matter to us. But there's also some really powerful forces that are changing the world drastically right now. And what we were doing before is not enough anymore. And I had to take some time to reflect and talk with other people in our organization. What should we be doing in this moment? What are the new things that we need to step into courageously? And so we've launched a new campaign called Civic Solidarity. And if you want to hear more about it, come talk to me afterwards. But we want to build power right here in Western Wisconsin to disrupt the pillars of support that are bringing us into a new age of authoritarianism where we don't want to be. This isn't what's good for the people, for ourselves and the people we love. And even I've told you some stories about big decisions that I've had to make and little decisions, but this curiosity is with me every single day. Just last Friday, I had a one-to-one meeting with someone. I was meeting with someone from our community and thinking about how we need to create new structures to fight this path towards authoritarianism. And this person told me that we live right now in a very mean world. And I agreed. And I also thought, okay, we have 20 minutes left, and I want to talk about this person's role, and I want to talk about the agenda. Produce, produce, produce. And really, I could have taken a couple minutes to ask, tell me more about that. What does that mean to you? How has that shown up in your life? And I didn't. It was a missed opportunity to align more around our values and what we're trying to build in this world. And so I'm on a journey. I have not arrived. I want to challenge myself to be the most courageous person that I possibly can be, to be courageous, to be curious, to be reflective, and that doesn't always come easily to me. And I want us to take a little moment now to pass it off to you and hear from you. Are there any risks that you're thinking about taking? Why are those risks important to you? And are there any voices? Are there any lies that show up that are holding you back? So I'm going to flip this. Ooh, that's exciting. So first we're going to take a couple minutes and just reflect on our own. But what is a risk that you want to take? For me, a risk that I wanted to take was to find a new way to engage with what's happening at the national level. What is Grow's role? What is my role given what's happening nationally? Why is this important to me? It's important to me because the safety net that's being deconstructed is going to harm my family. People being arrested by people that are masked and anonymous is going to escalate to more and more people and could eventually include me. What is a lie that I want to keep in the back seat so I can move forward with courage? You heard me talking about produce, produce, produce. Don't pause to reflect, don't pause to be curious, just produce. Or I'm not smart enough. These are lies that I need to keep in the back seat. So we're going to take just 2 minutes in silence, and you can think about, does any of this apply to you? Maybe you've recently taken a risk and you're like, I'm in the right place right now and I'm proud of myself for keeping my lies in the back seat. Or maybe there's something that's ahead for you. So let's just take 2 minutes in silence to reflect with ourselves about these questions, and then we'll get into pairs and share. So I encourage you now to get up, find someone that you didn't come here with, ideally someone you don't know very well, but maybe you all know each other quite well, I'm not sure. But find someone that you didn't come here with, and we're just going to spend like 8 minutes until 1/4 after sharing what's come up for you. Maybe you answer all the questions, maybe there's one question that's more relevant for you. And just share what's coming up for you, and then listen to the other person. Have curiosity around what's coming up for them. All right, so go ahead and find a pair.
I know.
Let's see. Okay. All right, well, there's two things. Here we say we were, actually, the biggest part was in the actually have a
All right, let's wrap our conversations up and come back. If you want, sure.
Sort of like Pavlov's dog, okay? We're trained to the bell.
That even goes right through the hearing aids. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's impressive, Belle. Thank you, Don. So I'm curious, does anybody have anything they'd like to share? Anything that's become clear to you about past risks you've taken or a risk you want to take now, a lie you want to put in the back seat, why it's important to you to do the things that you're doing? Yeah, anybody have something that you'd like to share with the group?
Okay, my sister and I will be calling up our neighbors to have a session with discussing what issues are concerning to them that are local. Why it's important to make sure that we are all on the same page, I can hope. The lie is I hate phone calls. I've done some phone calling and I can't stand it. But my sister is very verbal, and so she will help me out with this.
Great, great. And so this is a risk for you.
Oh, very definitely.
Yeah, and why are you still doing it? What's motivating you to push forward, despite the fact that you don't like to call and it's a big risk?
Well, because our political arena is so bad right now, we have to do something and we have to fight back. We have to push, push, push.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. Thank you.
I have one. I spoke a couple weeks ago about a Unitarian Universalist minister that I met who has a congregation in North Carolina. And she was on fire about making her society a beacon of social justice in North Carolina. And I left that discussion with her saying, why can't UUSRF be a beacon of social justice in this area? So my risk is that I want that to happen here because I think UU's has to be part of our mission. What's holding me back? I'm afraid I'm going to meet apathy when I try to energize the members of this congregation. But I have a new plan, so watch out.
And it's going to be on the agenda on Wednesday night at the board meeting to add that.
Yeah, who else?
I saw Callan and Aiden being chatted with. Did anybody get anything interesting, any risks from them?
We had a great conversation. You want to go first, Kat?
Sure. I know.
So the risk. What was it?
It's hard to
Talk about your Minecraft.
Oh, okay.
Challenges.
So oh.
I'll help her.
So Cal and I had some really nice conversation. And Callan is very intrigued about Minecraft, and in which my son was too, who's now 27. But my son actually created a server in River Falls where his friends all came on this Minecraft server, and he built this huge, not just city, but kind of like a huge community and such. So, but Callan is also really into that. And my understanding is you kind of want to beat the boss, right? Beat the what'd you call it? The Ender Dragon at the end of Minecraft. So that's one of his big goals. He's been holding back just building and doing fun stuff, but but he has never challenged himself to go to the end of it. And so now he's made a commitment that he wants to go accomplish that. So that was wonderful.
Takes courage. Yeah, good job. Great.
And I'll just add mine while I have the mic is, so over the years, I'm an engineer, and over the years, engineers always got to be prepared and ready. And I think that's what's always in the back of my mind. The big picture thing is you're not ready for this, or you're not prepared for this. And so, but I also learned over the years that as an engineer, I'm a unique engineer, as I ad hocly really handle things well in the public engagement scene, and I can pivot very quickly and work well with the public. And so that's given me more confidence to do things when I'm not ready. And I have lots of other support. My wife has asked why haven't you ran for student council and all, or not student council, but the school board and other things over the years. And I think I got to put that in the back seat about being ready, and maybe just jump in with an opportunity when it arises.
Yeah, thank you for sharing, Steve. Yeah, who else feels like sometimes they want to do something, but they're like, I'm not ready, I shouldn't do it yet, but you want to dive in anyway? Yeah.
I'm going to follow perfectly on those heels, Steve. Thanks. I want to be fearless about speaking extemporaneously, because I always feel like I have to be ready, and that if I don't know what I'm talking about, I am less valuable. And so the idea of being prepared is just so quintessentially important, and that I will otherwise be vulnerable to being challenged. You have an opinion? Why do you have that opinion? Have your ducks in a row for supporting that. And that's a boogeyman that I want to get in the backseat. It's just like I have a right to an opinion, regardless whether I have facts and figures to challenge it. So that's very important. We went a little bit into affirmations about what will help us get into our place where we'll take that risk. Krista, would you share what you learned on hidden brain? That is so valuable. The wisdom of getting, as you get older, that you have a sense of lack of time, and so for sort of the sense of time in our lives. Just what you shared while we were sitting together. Remember it?
Yeah. So this is when you were, what affirmations can we have?
To get us over this, to get that line in the
That
vaccine.
voice. Yeah. And I was just thinking about the preciousness of our lives, which, as I was saying, it was reminding me of the question that Mary Oliver has for all of us. What are you going to do with your one wild and precious life? And to remind ourselves that this is our life, and to pursue the gifts that we have.
Thank you. So I'm going to wrap us up by building power, which is a risk that we have to take. We can take it with courage, curiosity, and reflection. We can start to change the world, and little by little win bigger and bigger things and create a world that is good for us to live in and good for our loved ones to live in. So thank you for taking this time with me this morning. We can take a few questions if you'd like, and then we'll wrap up. Yeah, any questions?
I have a comment.
Yeah.
That was beautiful, and you're amazing.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, questions or comments or reflections are also welcome. Thank you, Colleen.
Where do you find your courage?
Where do I find my courage? One thing that helps me be courageous is being clear about what's at stake for me and what will happen if I'm not courageous. So that really helps me, having clarity around what's happening and how is this going to impact me and people that I love. That really helps me be courageous. And another thing that helps me be courageous is all of you and everyone else that's involved with Grow. It's amazing to be in a community where everyone's taking risks and everyone's like talking about what's challenging and why they want to take a risk anyway, and being in relationship with other people that are also showing up courageously and asking themselves hard questions and doing hard things, really, really helps me have a lot of courage to do the same.
So I'm all for power. What about dealing with the people that abuse power, that they build power? Do you fight power with power, or do you try to do some sort of oriental, use their power against them? Do you have any ideas about that?
Yeah, good question. So you point out a really good thing. How many of you have kind of a negative association with power? Like you hear power and you're like, I don't know, is that good? Is that bad? Yeah, most of us do, because we think of power, we think of abuse of power, we think of people using their power to do bad things. And one of the realities is power is kind of like water. It's neutral. Water can nourish the soil, make things grow, hydrate our bodies. It can also flood and destroy. It can be a tsunami. Like water in and of itself is kind of neutral. It can be good or bad. And power is the same way. We can abuse power. A lot of the things that are happening to us right now are really an abuse of power. But the only way but power in itself is not bad. There's been a lot of power built to do good things. What are some things that you can think of where power has been used for really good things?
Social Security.
Social Security.
Civil rights.
Civil rights.
19th Amendment.
19th Amendment.
Environmental laws.
Environmental laws. So power can be used for good things or bad things, but we can't be, we have to be clear that if people with a lot of power right now, corporate power, ultra wealthy people that are trying to rig the system to benefit themselves, if we're not clear that in order to fight them and create a world that's going to work for regular people, we need to build power to fight that, then we may not get anywhere. So we just have to, like, we can build power to fight the people that are using power for bad things. Allison?
Yeah, the biggest problem with power is everybody has power. People have power. The failure to use your power and that apathy. The apathy is the problem that creates a void for people who want to use power for evil to exist.
Yeah, and
so recognizing, looking in the mirror and seeing your power and getting up in the morning and using it.
Yeah, I agree. And it can be apathy, and it can be just like, it's really convenient for the people in power for us to think that we don't have power. It really serves them, right?
Right, or people thinking, well, what can I do?
Right.
You know, I'm just one person. Does it matter if I'm at that protest or that march? Or,
Yeah, absolutely. Any other questions, comments, reflections? Not. I'm going to close us out with, speaking of civil rights, there was an organizer, she passed away not too long ago, named Grace Lee Boggs, and she organized during the civil rights. She then moved to Detroit and helped revitalize Detroit after a lot of the car factories, I'm not saying this very well, a lot of the car factories shut down. And she has a sentence that I find very, very true, and that helps me. And she says, we have to change ourselves in order to change the world. They're interconnected. So on that note, I'll pass it back to Anne. Thank you all for having me.
Thank you, Jenelle. That was very wonderful. Coming programs next week, not a service, but a picnic. Starting at 10:30, there's information in the newsletter. Please come and help celebrate the end of summer. On the 27th is Unidos, which is a social justice organization in the Twin Cities doing something called upstander training here, which is what those of us who don't have to worry about ICE and being deported, disappeared, can do to help people who are threatened constantly by ICE agents. There are things that we can do to try to support them or stop some of the ICE actions. So it's a training from 6:30 to 8:30. They do want pre-registration because they do want to be a little careful about who knows about this and who might show up. So it's in the newsletter, but if you need some more information, I can get that for you. Then on the 31st, because it's Labor Day weekend, there will be no service. But starting on the September 7th, we will be back to our new UU year, full force. So that's what's coming up. Also, produce from the garden in the kitchen, please take it. Or if there are still things in the garden, if you want to go pick more green beans, peas, basil, what else is out there? Maybe that's it, but I picked most of the ripe tomatoes, Anna. They're in the kitchen, okay? Tomatoes are really slow. I don't know why. They're coming, but not yet, okay? And as you know, there's a basket in the lobby for presents, but we are very happy to have you here today. Yes, Jenelle?
Can I make one more announcement?
Yes.
Sorry, I forgot to mention that if you'd like to have a one-to-one with me, if you'd like to talk more, I have a sign-up sheet next to your basket back there.
Great.
And there's also information about becoming a member of GROW, if you'd like.
Yes, okay, thank you. Any other announcements? Okay, well, can we gather in a circle and read the words on the wall, please?
We need that close.
Go out.
Have courage, question all things, hold on to what is good, return to no person evil for evil, strengthen the faint-hearted,